The next voice you shall hear might change your life forever. Please make a place in your life for spirituality, and please welcome at this time, stepping into the spotlight, won't you please make welcome, live direct from the music sanctuary of the Lighter Than Air Ministries. Here he is, Chaplain Dennis Keith Hale.
This is Lighter Than Air, and I'm Chaplain Dennis Keith Hale. Welcome. Welcome to Lighter Than Air. We're a support system for people who understand the complexities of modern life and choose to use nature, the natural path, towards happiness, contentment, joy, and a better libido. Yes, it is. You know, people question all the time about why I went the direction I did and how I learned that we were helping people. Well, as our motto of Lighter Than Air is, no stranger to misfortune myself, I have learned to relieve the suffering of others. Yes, somehow something came over me. When I was a younger man, I wanted to be a social worker. I felt I had to work in some way to end society's inequities and give people a better quality of life within the reason of what I could. And so I looked at the Christian ministry, and I found myself an ordained man in something I didn't really believe in. Well, it turned out they didn't believe in me either, in that once they found out that I was having a more exciting, a closer walk with Jesus through getting high prior to my service. You see, I see it as a spiritual service. A spiritual void is what draws me. And of course, all the jobs I had over the years, I've had over 79 jobs in my life. Yes, I'm not really a great long-term worker, I guess. But I fill the hole when they need it. I work for this ministry. In fact, taking almost a vow of poverty over the years, I've channeled all my work funds, save rent and food, of course, and that old clunker of a Volvo that I love so much. I drive a 92 Volvo. But one thing I do know for sure is that when people question why I came to this ministry, how I got here, I say nature brought me. Nature brought me to this ministry. That's why I know that it works for people. When I got here, I started out, I too was stressed. I had just had a protracted start in Mexico, where in fact I started this whole group, Lighter Than Air, amongst people who were coming from the San Francisco Bay Area, many of them, to die in Mexico, where it was warm and people seemed always on vacation, having fun. This is the environment they wanted to be in. So they pooled their money, they bought a place down in Mexico, and I happened to be in the same place at the same time. So I started as a disc jockey by a pool. Yes, a disc jockey by a pool, you know, like they have now disc jockeys. Although I had worked as a disc jockey here in Mexico, I was relegated to the signal as far as the end of the pool. But it was a great ministry. And I worked there every day, made money so I could continue my work in the explaining of this wonderful spiritual part of marijuana and how it could work for you. Then as my DJ job at the hotel ended up drawing a lot of people. And the people were all these folks who were terminally ill with AIDS. And I'd see them at the pool party, we call it a pool party. We'd see it at the pool party, and everyone would be there, and then suddenly they weren't. And we'd bring tapes to them of the music they told us they really liked from our collection. And of course, down there in Mexico, it was hard to maintain a collection of anything current because there just wasn't anything there. Well, after they had all died, this ministry moved. There was too many bad memories. And you know, we remember moments in our life. We don't remember days, perhaps, that it was last Thursday. Or we remember moments and what happened on that day. life is full of little events that make your life fuller, little events that make every day tolerable and more interesting. In Mexico, I had a chance to see what life was all about. But as I returned back to the United States, I saw that everybody was in despair. It was that there had been a recession in 1991, and each time we have a recession, not everyone bounces back, and the tech segment I was in, we did not bounce back. Other testing equipment became available, and other ways of doing the same thing we were doing with machines was done interactively. Well, I went from there to a chance to really spend some time working on how I could help people. So I volunteered, I did this and that. And because I was sort of enamored with how wonderful cannabis was and how I could sit back and listen to the music that I loved so much. So for a protracted amount of time, I did not watch television at all. I just went to my music. And that plays into this story that I just started. So I went to the hospital to visit a friend for a gallbladder operation he was in. His case soured. He suddenly became unable to breathe fully and extreme pain in his abdomen. When I inquired at the nurse's station, she said his surgery went sour. Well, I didn't know exactly what that meant, but I did know this man was in agony. And I heard him down the hall yelling out, "I don't want to die." The men in the room with him, for there was 3 other men, it was a 4-person room, just separated by curtains, you know. And they were all talking amongst themselves or watching television. So the man in the next cubicle, surrounded by the curtains, seemed like a very angry man. When I had been there to visit before, he felt that I was another visited warranted, he said. He's only going to be in here for a couple of days. Well, I'm so glad I didn't listen to that advice. But I knew my friend's time was coming. His eyes were wild as one I've seen many times now since that moment. His eyes are wild. Now, I truly believe that your body secretes something. All the people I've been with at the very end, something comes over them, and the eyes just, they light up and become very small pupils. And that look, I'll always remember that look because I've seen it now over and over. And I believe your body secretes some sort of MDA or some sort of hallucinogen, so that this very transition that you're going through can be dealt with, can be helped. The body itself and the mind itself working to make that transition better. We have also found that when you're sick and you have a transition to make in your life, the transition we can help you with, and the one that works, is nature's way. It's nature's way of dealing with life and the unbearable moments of it. And we found that music, we spend our whole life trying to harmonize with our mother's heartbeat from the womb to the grave. And in doing so, we find people who touch us through a spark in the eye or a certain way of meeting. And those people are whom you are in love with, like love at first sight. Yes. Well, you can have a wonderful life. You can end your life at the same moment in a good way. And that's why I'm so often telling this story. For you see, my friend who was dying, as it got close, the guys in the room said, "Can't you shut this guy up and come on, give us some peace over here?" his last moments of his life, he pulled me close to him and he said, "Chaplain, Dennis, this is my time." And as his eyes got more wild and more open, the guy in the next curtained stall yelled, "Shut the fuck up." At which point he pulled a adapter out of a TV, the earphone adapter. And so the last words that my good friend heard were from the TV. Bob Barker and, I don't know who was the announcer at the time, but the last words my friend heard were, "Come on down, the price is right." Which afterwards his body went limp. I vowed there and then I would never allow this to happen again. I vowed at that moment that that final experience of your life, this moment should be as profound as the very first moments. In doing so, we charted a course for our life. This ministry charted a course unlike any other, to make the final hours, days of your life full of music, the music of your life, the soundtrack of your life, what you're leaving behind, and also marijuana. You see, nature's prepared for this. As your illnesses grow, as the cancers grow, your body's ready. And it's ready, and it provides some solace when it can't regenerate those cells or it can't make the bacteria go away. Life is there for you, and it's wonderful. It provides for your ending, and it should be with music and marijuana. And let your body secrete what it will. I know that the people who ask us about this ministry try to sort of trip us up sometimes. I don't know why there's so much anger about it. You know, in leaving the church myself, after I was told that smoking marijuana was a sin, and being a ordained citizen of this world, I was not allowed to have that closer walk that I found my way of finding spirituality. Now, I believe firmly, and this ministry works towards everybody having a spiritual part of their life, an outlet where their mind can have a mind of its own, and it's a wonderful, wonderful statement about you as a person, where you have a spiritual side to yourself, where moments where you well up with feelings about life and yourself and others you love. It's amazing. It's absolutely amazing. So that's where we started our 10-hour soundtrack for the final day of your life. The very profound final set. But we found that this worked for other things too. We found that music and marijuana could work in your life to get you off of booze, could work in your life to get you out of that hole of pain relievers. I just hope that you understand that this is a public service. This is a spiritual public service that we're offering you. Go to our website, please. Look through what we're doing and tell us how you can help us. Look through our website. Look and see what we're doing, see how we can help you. It's important. This work must continue. I know my days are limited, but this work must continue. It's not academic per se, but it needs to be treated as a very important activity of the mind, of the body, of the spirit. As I think about it, having had just Christmas a few days ago, this celebration of the Christian Jesus, I realize it has very little to do with him. Sure, there's a few creches, as we used to call those statues of the three wise men, Joseph and Mary and baby Jesus, stuck in the front yard of some home. We know that religion has a lot to do with how people have kept societies together. Those within the church hired within the church. Those within the church knew more about the other people in your community. So naturally you gravitated to them. Now we're in an electronic age, and there's no way of doing that. We don't want you to lose that experience. We don't want you to miss the experience of a community. Even if it's just voices on a conference call or photos or whatever. We want you to be part of that. You owe it to yourself. We want you to be part of our community. If you believe in the power of music and the grace found in marijuana and the matching of the two to create nature's perfect pairing, if you're in it for that, because it's real. The power of music is as real as anything you ever see. Doctors have written papers about it. And marijuana is what adds the grace to life. It's true. I hope that you'll think about what we have going. Go to our website. The address is on the screen now. See how you can help us and how we can help you. The services of the ministry are free, and we never have let anyone walk because of lack of money. Yes, a vow of poverty. That's what numerous girlfriends and friends of mine have told me over the years. A vow of poverty is what I'm taking. On that, let me end this week's show, because I notice people out there who need help. I see them in my mind. People who need that direction. People who need to understand what nature can do for them. And to you, I'm reaching out. Spiritually, I'm reaching out to you. In a way no other person can reach out to another. I am reaching out to those of you who need our help. Please go to our ministry's website. We're non-committal. We're non-profit. We are non-Christian. It's spiritually guided wonderfully, like no other group ever before. On that, I want to say good night to you. I want to thank you so much for coming to our show here and for your support of Lighter Than Air. I'm Chaplain Dennis Keithay. And as I end the show, I want to say, as you go through your life, you know what you're going to need? You're going to need mercy at some point. Mercy. And as you go through your life, let you go with grace. Thank you for tuning in. See you next week here on the Spiritual Side of Cannabis. Good night.
And with that, this ministry, like no other, bids you good night. If you need additional information, want to offer your testimony, or need to consult with Chaplain or any member of our ministry, visit our contact page and email the ministry, and we will be in touch. We care about you, and as always, until next week, may you go with grace.